To get started, download and then print out the PDF provided for you from Dyckman Farmhouse. Start by printing out one full copy, but you may find that you require multiples of a single page or multiples of the whole packet to complete your project. You can use plain paper, color paper, pattern paper, or anything that will safely go through your printer. In this packet, you'll find calendula flowers or pot marigold, honeysuckle, 2 different kinds of sage, a page with vases, urns, and some groupings of plants that are both hand-drawn and digitally rendered, and finally furniture forms including a set of chairs, both left-facing and right-facing, 2 end tables, and a large fireplace mantle. All of these plants have been used in various installations that I've created. The calendula, honeysuckle, and sage are all included in the current installation at Dyckman Farmhouse Assembly of Ciphers, and were also popular in colonial gardens. After printing out your pages, get a sharp pair of scissors and find somewhere comfortable to sit. Begin by separating out individual plants and furniture forms from the rest of the page. You might want to keep piles so that you stay organized, like things with like things. For the detail cuts, it's helpful sometimes to remove large areas of extra paper. I find it equally helpful to move the paper as well as move the scissors. So you can see here I'm rocking the scissors back and forth and also maneuvering the paper with my other hand. Precision is key, but you don't have to cut out each plant form or furniture form perfectly. For example, when you're cutting out plant forms, mimicking the curvilinear line in the plants with your scissors can help mask any imperfections in your cutting technique. I often will cut into a plant to change its shape, omit certain parts of it, or even leave extra space sometimes. As you're collaging, you'll find that some of these imperfections can be useful, and you can always cut away more. So err on the side of leaving a little extra around the edges. While some of you may feel comfortable using an X-Acto knife, scissors are safer and in some cases a better option, especially if you're working with young people. Enclosed spaces can be really difficult to cut out, especially when you're only using a scissor, but you can cleverly mask your cuts by cutting through in an inconspicuous place. Here I've accessed the inside negative space inside of the arm of a chair. Once this is glued down in a composition, no one is going to notice where you cut through. Staying organized will help your work go a little bit faster, but the nature of the process is that your work area is going to become disorganized. Start off by keeping like things in like piles, same sizes together, same type of things together. Take small breaks and clean your workspace. Throw away scraps and reorganize things into piles anytime you feel like it's getting a little bit out of control. Now you're ready to start your first collage. To begin with, let's start with a smaller collage. For one thing, it goes a little bit faster, and you get to practice all of these techniques in a quick amount of time. I like to start with some bright paper, but if you have any toned paper or scrap paper that isn't white, it might contrast nicely with what you've printed out. Beyond paper, you're going to need a pair of scissors, a glue stick, and everything you've cut out. Select a vase, urn, or furniture form and place it in the middle of the page, or at least somewhere that gives you enough space to add plants around it. We're going to create some negative space around that central urn, vase, or furniture form using plants. The plants are also going to become a frame, and you're going to cut away the extra toned paper. So just start building out from the interior of the furniture form, the urn, or the vase. Lay things out without gluing them down first, but once you have a rough idea of what you want to do, go ahead and add a little glue to the center of whatever you're gluing down. You don't want to put a ton of glue all the way to the end because you may choose to layer something underneath it later, and if you completely glue it down, you're not going to be able to access underneath the paper. Experiment by subdividing plants, cutting them in half or thirds, to create unique compositions. Layering is really key here, and there are no hard or fast rules when it comes to layering, but I like to try to create implied space as much as possible. So instead of putting things on top of things, sometimes try to have a plant go on top of, but also in back of something else to create a little bit of implied space. Make sure to leave negative space between your central form and the exterior. These plants are essentially creating a frame, and then we're cutting out the background. Once you're happy with your composition, go ahead and tack things down with a little bit more glue. These look really lovely by themselves, but they also look great in groupings. So go ahead and experiment and create some multiples and try collaging those together as well. That's a little bit more of an advanced technique, but I think it's one you'll pick up really quickly. If you're looking for something a little bit more challenging, this next project is for you. Here, I've created the illusion of a three-dimensional room using different values of paper. Go ahead and select a central point in the composition. From that central point, draw one line that goes straight up to the top of the page, and then two lines towards the edge of the page, both on the left and right side, that equal about 45-degree angles. Use one of these sides and glue it down on top of another value of paper. Trace the opposing side on the third value of paper and place it on top of the base, creating the opposite wall. It might be a little tricky at first, but you'll get the hang of it. And once you've got this space established, whatever happens on the interior is entirely up to you. You can use all the furniture forms, the fireplace, the plants, flowers, urns, vases, whatever you're interested in using, and just really experiment. I've included a lot of mirror images of both the furniture forms and the plant forms so that you're not tied down to a left-facing or right-facing composition. The options are endless, and you're not limited to only what I've given you in the printouts. As you go through your days, start looking for things that you find really interesting or you feel that you might fit into the collage. For those of you who are really good at digital media, you can scan your collages, turn them into animations, or add other objects to them. Think of this activity as a starting point, but you can really take it in almost any direction that interests you. Collages can be realistic, abstract, or surreal. Save all your offcuts and scraps. Oftentimes when you have limited resources is when you make your most creative decisions. Working in small-scale collages has so many great advantages. Everything you need to keep creating fits easily in a small bag. You just need a folder with your copies, a glue stick, a pair of scissors, and maybe some tape. And no matter where you are, you can keep creating.